Face to face. I had a dream that all the world will live in peace. My mom was born poor this lifetime, and her life was a horror. But she never gave up. She was doing her best and more to help her mom, whom she loved with all her heart, and her younger sister, of whom she was always taking care. I believe they found themselves in the situation because of the World War II. My grandma was taken to a camp with her mother, and when she was 16, her mother died in prison. That is in the camp. Her father had disappeared, and it is very probable that they got imprisoned because someone from our close family had informed the authorities, perhaps trying to escape the growing anti-Semitism themselves. We also have a family in Austria, and I believe my grandma is a distant relative to the Habsburg family. When she left the camp, she must have had the constant sense of insecurity. Not to mention the scope of humiliation and degradation she was suffering from for the rest of her life, even in Canada, where she moved to be helping her younger daughter, leaving my mom and me here in Poland. Luckily, I was born to my mom and my dad. I know nothing about my dad's life, apart from a few facts, one of them being his having been a victim of both Nazis and Soviets at one point in his life, which is why he was imprisoned by both. He was to die in prison once, but they let him go out, and he survived. He recovered. From the very beginning, his life was marked by danger. His family was rich. He had a mansion, but he was born around 1914 in Rzęsna Ruska, which belonged to Poland, but now it belongs to Ukraine. Originally, it belonged to Russia. There were massacres of Poles, genocide, in Volhynia and eastern Galicia by the Ukrainian insurgent army, supported by the local Ukrainian population quite frequently. In the years 1943-1945, Rzęsna Ruska is one of the places that suffered. My mom met my dad when she went to work after completing high school and passing her school completion exam. She worked for the Court of Justice, taking minutes. Then she became a bookkeeper, afterwards a social worker in a kind of home for adults suffering from psychiatric disorders. Contrary to her expectations, she never married my dad. When I was around 7, she married someone else. I was born rich and loved. I was a very good child with many gifts. and a dutiful pupil. Extremely religious, but loving music and people. I played volleyball, table tennis, danced for fun. I was also a great swimmer as a child. I was best at maths in our school and equally gifted in the area of language and literature. Without going into details, I am quite superbly educated, though it took maturity for me to understand that genius needs to be backed by work. In 2001, I left my life, this great life, to solve the problem of terrorism as a response to the 11th of September. And I have been working towards this purpose ever since. My Scientology training was to serve that and no other purpose. You have joined a war waged against me, which is unjust, unnecessary, and stupid, cruel, and inhuman, too. I am a virgin and a superb teacher, by the way. Agnieszka Beata Magdalena Rojek.